Why is Retatrutide better than Tirzepatide? Now that's a great question that I got, and in this video I'll deconstruct what the research shows so far on Retatrutide. Now Tirzepatide has received FDA approval several years ago. Retatrutide is slated to be approved this year, and Eli Lilly's looking at it for obesity, sleep apnea, and even having it approved for osteoarthritis in the knees. And so we'll talk about why Retatrutide is better than Tirzepatide. And here's the biggest thing that we'll deconstruct. In the Triumph-4 study, they found that participants lost 28.7% of their total body weight at 68 weeks, obliterating Tirzepatide's 21% ceiling. Now, even better than, that's comparable to bariatric surgery. So crazy. The other thing we're going to talk about is Retatrutide having that glucagon edge. It vaporized 71 pounds on average in the patients who were on the highest dose. Now, the problem is that there are some skin issues, synesthesia, where your skin gets these kind of tingling. You can have heart racing at these higher doses. So we're still assessing the safety. But so far, this phase 3 beast outperforms Tirzepatide in many of the areas, including safety and then the unprecedented fat annihilation and the muscle preservation. Tirzepatide was a massive upgrade from semaglutide, and then Retatrutide is arguably a magnitude. If Tirzepatide is 10 times better than semaglutide for most people, it seems as if Retatrutide may be like 1,000 times better based on what you're looking to accomplish. Now, in this video, we'll decode Retatrutide, Tirzepatide, and pick your weight loss weapon for maximal recomposition dominance. But I want to do it in a way that you can understand and get the breakdown from head-to-head comparisons, but also where you can assess the risk. Because once again, Retatrutide, there has been some signals in the skin condition and racing heart. We've also seen things digestively that we still need to assess. As we dive into this video, just know that this is not me giving you medical advice, not telling you to change your medication or dosing in any way. It's just me simply sharing with you something I'm very passionate about, which are peptides, and specifically these GLP-1 agonists, because they've honestly made our life a lot easier at Ageless Future. We've got an entire medical team, and we want to make sure that you're getting the right doses at the right time so that you can optimize your health and remove any risks. And so we're going to talk about Retatrutide versus Tirzepatide. It's not hype. This is just understanding mechanisms and trial data and trade-offs so that you can think clearly about what's coming next and hopefully very soon as far as FDA approval goes. So first of all, Retatrutide, 28% of weight annihilation. I mean, if you start with that, the numbers of the Triumph-4, when I saw that study, I was like, this is very impressive. And this was at 12 milligrams. It was the highest dose that they had. Now remember, Tirzepatide's highest dose is 15 milligrams. Tirzepatide is a co-agonist. It's GLP-1 and a GIP. So the GIP is working on that insulin sensitivity pathway. The GLP-1 is turning off the food noise, slows down gastric emptying. Both of these compounds together improve cognitive function, cardiovascular function, reduce pain. They help support kidney function. I've got videos on that. But the real interesting thing about Retatrutide is there's a mean weight reduction of that 28.7% at 68 weeks. That translated as an average of 71.2 pounds. Now, that figure that comes from global randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled phase 3 studies, and this was involving 445 participants who had obesity or overweight and knee osteoarthritis. Now, it was compared to placebo, where they lost 2.1% in that same time horizon. Now, that separation, that's pretty dramatic, 28, almost 29% to 2%. So those top-line results, when they were announced publicly, they had a full, peer-reviewed publication, and I'll provide the link to the notes where you can read about it. But you'll look at Retatrutide Triumph 4 study, delivered an weight loss. They had an average weight loss of 28%. So for context, Tirzepatide's major obesity trial have shown peak mean reductions in the 21 to 22% range at 72 weeks. That's already substantial, but on paper so far, Retatrutide seems to be pushing beyond that ceiling. In earlier phase 2 obesity data, participants reached 24.2% mean reduction at 48 weeks, and about a 25% of participants reach reductions of 30% or more total body weight. So mechanistically, this difference is tied to this triple agonism. So Retatrutide, like Tirzepatide, it's a GLP-1. However, it's got about 5 times less of a GLP-1 pulse. It's a GIP, and the GIP pulse is 8 times stronger in Retatrutide than it is Tirzepatide. And then the thing that's missing in Tirzepatide is glucagon. And glucagon is what turns on mitochondrial biogenesis. You get more energy packs. It helps get rid of fatty liver disease. It turns on your body's energy expenditure, so you have less intake, higher energy expenditure, which may explain why people can be on the higher end of weight reduction, but they preserve muscle mass. And I think that's the real thing, the real criticism that comes. But at the higher dose, just like with semaglutide or Tirzepatide, increased risks of gastrointestinal effects, nausea being the number one side effect, skin tingling sensations, elevations in heart rate. So you'll probably see on Retatrutide that first kind of month, your heart rate may jump 7 to 10 beats per minute. And so this is where you want to, once Retatrutide is out on the market, make sure you talk to your doctor to find out if this is right for you. So as we look at regulation, the FDA green light versus the experimental edge, we got to talk about the maturity of Tirzepatide, which is FDA approved already. It's been used across broad patient populations, just dwarfing the amount of research done on humans with Retatrutide. Retatrutide, we can clearly delineate the difference in the mechanism of action because it's a triple agonist versus a dual agonist. But the real thing that Tirzepatide, where it shines, is it's got large-scale, real-world data sets. It's a clinical profile that's well documented in peer-reviewed literature, including major trials, published in high-impact journals, and we'll provide some of the links there. Retatrutide, by contrast, is still in phase 3 development, which means we have strong emerging data, but we don't have long-term post-approval surveillance data. And I'm excited for that because, Retatrutide, we've known about it for about 3 years, and every time new data comes out, it's just more and more interesting. The new side effect with the tingling in the skin that was announced with the SURMOUNT-4 trial, we may see more of those as more studies come out. And also as we look back, the post hoc study where they look back retroactively and see how people have responded. But generally speaking, if you're somebody who's looking to maximize your health, you want better sleep, better body composition, better quality of life, less pain. We do have a no pain policy at Ageless Future. You want to have a clear thinking brain, and you want to extend your health span and lifespan. Well, some of these GLP-1s are probably the only medication that I could say was brought to us by Big Pharma, Retatrutide being the crown jewel because they are the ones that combine this GLP-1 with the GIP and glucagon. But it's the first drug that they're actually putting longevity on as one of the benefits. Right now, their estimates are that people who use GLP-1s extend their life by 6.4%, their overall lifespan. Now, that's pretty dramatic. I mean, that adds some significant amounts of years to our life, but it's also the health in those years that really matter. I make these videos so that you have choices and you have clarity when it comes to where do you want your health to go? How do you want to look, feel, and perform 90 days from now? What's the one thing that you can do that creates leverage for your future health? And I believe the very first place to start is by getting the right diagnostic testing. And this is not just, your CMP and CBC that you get in your annual physical, but it's actually going deeper, analyzing using over 100 different markers so you can understand the health of your thyroid, your gut, your adrenals, your liver. Is your body processing and detoxifying? And what's your nutrient status? These are all the things that are going to help you protect your most valuable asset, which is your health. And so for those of you who want to go deeper, go to agelessfuture.com and click on the link that allows you to get the free intro call, and my team will take care of you. Appreciate you being on this video. I'm Regan Archibald. I'll see you on the next one.